So, dun, 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 dun.
Or does that need she need to do that?
I mean, we have it written back there as well. So, I'll talk it over with the group. I'll let them discuss. I guess that's what they're doing right now is they're discussing. Josh shaking his head. Nope. So we are going to, the council of the elders over back there. Y'all talk about it. Who's going to win? Y'all can look at the book. The book is back there. I counted up the points. I already know the book's points, according to those who won. But one person who clearly has the most points and the most verses memorized is not here, which is Jersey. So I don't know if that's fair to her, but then if we make an exception there, should we make the exception for the boys who don't have their paper?
Here, we can just bring her paper here, FaceTime her, and then give the phone.
Did any boys do anything?
Yeah, there's some boys got some points back there, but
You just
they
said
don't
you
have
didn't
paper.
get a paper.
I didn't get a paper, but I have points.
He did get. We kept track of the points too,
How'd you get
but
points?
part of the
How did you
rule
get the
is
point
that we
without
had to
the
have your
paper?
papers at the end of the time.
How did you know
I
what
brought
verses to
friends.
memorize if you didn't bring a paper?
He didn't do verses. He did inviting people,
Oh.
which is another way you can get points.
All I was
I
saying
tried to,
is
but no
we
one
did
wants
have a
to.
limited number of papers that night, so I asked who wanted one, and I gave everybody that raised their hand a piece of paper.
Did you not want one, Isaac?
I didn't know what it was for.
That's
yeah,
not an
right.
exception. He's here with no paper. She has a paper, she's just not here.
Yeah. So
And we get proof of that.
there's three of y'all. Y'all take a vote. Tell me what y'all come up with. All right. So anyway, for those of you who don't know or not going, we are going Monday to
Kentucky!
Kentucky. Woo-hoo. All right. Your $60 is due tonight if you don't win. If you do win, then you don't owe anything. But if you have not already, which I'm looking around, and I know of a few that are in here that have not filled out your form. There's about 6 of you guys who have not filled out a form. And we need that form filled out. It's on. You have to go to kmbcnewheights.com, fill out the form, and makes you feel better. 2 of them are not here because they're on vacation. So
Might as well make that 5 because
you're going home too. Yes.
Whatever happened with the reward system for Bible school? You promised us?
VBS. Yeah. The person who won that. I know who the person who won that one is too.
Okay.
They just haven't been here since
So
then.
this is for camp.
This is just for camp, but VBS points still add up to that as well.
Okay.
Yes. So make sure your form's filled out. I've been in contact with a lady from KNBC, and she's letting me know as y'all get y'all's forms filled out. So if come Monday, if I didn't fill out my form, which I have not filled out my own form yet, but I'm
Then
like,
how can you get on me for not having my
hold
form
on.
filled out?
I'm a student there. They already have all my information.
Fine.
Boom. All right. So if you don't fill out your form, come Sunday when I email her, she's going to give me the list of kids who filled out their forms. And if you have not filled out your form, then come Monday, you show up at whatever time. What time? No, that's the time we're leaving. So you're going to be like 4:45. 4:45 at the latest. So we can load up your stuff. If you show up and you are not, you don't have your stuff with you, or you're not registered, then you don't get to go. And then you woke up that early, and you got your parents woken up that early for nothing, and they'll be really mad. So make sure you fill out your forms. That is a very, 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 very important part of it. Filling out your forms, okay?
What's the website called?
Because when we, what?
Send out the form.
Shh.
So if you haven't filled out your forms, you need to go to KMBC. You need to go to Google, type in KMBC New Heights Camp, and then it'll pop up. And then there's a little check mark. You just go down and you click the check mark. It says registration. Click the check mark, and it takes you to another form.
Wait, why is it called New Heights? Is that up like a mountain or something?
Yeah, but it's literally on top of a mountain. So,
Oh, okay.
and they have a zip line. So
Nice. I kind of wish I could go now.
it's pretty
I wanna
neat.
try it.
So
Have you
anyway,
ever been on the switch on?
let's see.
Airlines?
I have not.
Oh,
All right. Do we have a verdict? They need to talk to me.
So let's announce this at the end of.
Okay, we'll talk. We'll announce this at the end, so everyone just wait patiently.
Elizabeth, where's
yes, sir.
All right. Yeah.
I'm waiting to get her paper.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Her paper is. Elizabeth said that her paper is at Elizabeth's house
I will kill you.
in her Bible.
I will kill you.
So, Jersey has like 3 Bibles.
Then rest.
So,
This weekend, sleep.
so, yeah. All right, we're gonna start worship then. All right. So why don't y'all come on up, worship team.
If you don't go to camp,
Oh, also, if you're really counting on this win to go to camp, because that's the only way you could go to camp is if you won. There's been lots of people who said they want to sponsor a kid that can't, that maybe not, just maybe couldn't afford it. Please come up and tell me afterwards, or tell Kristen or Josh or Brianna. And I mean, when I say there's a few people, there's like 3. So 3 people that said they would sponsor if you really wanted to go. So if that's one of you guys who's already signed up for it, then please tell me and I'll get you on board. All right. With that being said, we're going to start some worship. So I invite you guys to play the ukulele with me, or sing along with the ukulele. You see anything below like a 7 or a 9? Sounds like a ukulele, doesn't it? Yeah. Some people might say mandolin, but I have a ukulele, so I don't have a mandolin. This is what it sounds like. So, sing with us is a kind of a new song, but hopefully you've heard it on the radio.
We're in person at Winter Conference.
Oh, she played this at Winter Conference? I wasn't there. I don't remember hearing her playing this song.
She told us it was a new song.
I mean, I've heard this on my Spotify playlist, so that's where I've heard.
How come I can't see?
Starts looking like the end of it all.
so this should be a fairly familiar song to you guys. I know we did it before with Josh leading it, but Tita's going to lead it this time, and it's called Yes I Will. And I've been reading about Elijah, and this kind of song makes me think about it. It makes me think that he was the one. There was many other prophets of God in his time, but he was the only one to stand up and praise him, to make the claim for him, the only one that spoke the truth. And sometimes it feels like you're all alone. Sometimes it feels like there's no one else that you can turn to. Sometimes you feel like there's no one out there. But I promise you, as long as you lift him up, he won't fail you. Or maybe you're in the brook of Kidron, the lowest part of the valley. He's still there with you and he'll provide.
Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus.
Father, I just thank you so much. And as we dive into your word, as we dig into a little bit more than what we need to do, I pray, God, that you would have your way, that your anointing would be upon us. And God, we would finish what was started here last week. God, just in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Alright, so we're going to play a video.
Which is in the Bible. Drift.
So,
Who gets screwed up. Paul tells the Galatians, he goes, who bewitched you? What happened to you guys? He goes, I feel like I wasted all that time with you. Then you read the book of 1 Corinthians, and he's like telling the Corinthians, what is wrong with you guys? I heard there's divisions among you. He goes, like some are saying, I follow this guy and this guy, this guy. He goes, was I crucified for you? Why are you following me? Did I tell you it was about Jesus? You know, I hear, did you guys sue each other seriously? I hear that there's immorality in the church and you're proud of it. I hear that people are getting drunk during communion. Drunk. Communion. Really? I hear that some of you don't even believe in the resurrection anymore. What in the world are you kidding me right now? And so I'm reading about all these churches that drift, and we can look and go, yeah, the church in Ephesus, yeah, the church in Laodicea, yeah, the church in Galatia, yeah, the church in Corinth. Hey, what about us? What about the church in America? Do we really think we're one of the good ones? In America, we have buildings that we call churches, and you go to them. And you sit for an hour, hour and a half, and someone teaches you a message. And then if you don't like it, you can go to the church down the street. That doesn't make sense biblically. You don't think about that. It's not about you. You don't go, I didn't like it, I didn't like it, I didn't like this. You go for him. Because we're concerned about what pleases him. That's what the gatherings were supposed to be. You think the high angels in Revelation 4 saying, holy, 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 at the end of the day go, I didn't really like it today. They got it. We are so self-centered. When's the last time you made a decision based upon him where you go, what would please you most? What would make you happiest? Because you're my God, you're my master. You know what would please you? Is he says, the ones who actually tremble at his word. You know what? Let's grab a couple friends and let's just read the word and tremble at it. Let's read through the book of Revelation. Let's just get together and read it. We don't need a great speaker. Let's just read it and tremble at it because his words are so much higher than mine. He wants us devoted to prayer. Let's get together and let's just seek his presence and see what happens. Because that actually is more exciting to me. That's more exciting. See, what we did in the church was no one showing up for prayer meeting. Well, then let's change the prayer meeting. Let's make it shorter. Let's bring in a band. Let's bring in a speaker. And we'll save a few minutes of prayer so we can still call it prayer meeting. Let's change the prayer meeting. And now I'm at an age where I go, you know what? No, let's change your heart. Why don't you want to go to prayer? It's not the problem with the service, the problem is you. Do you not understand who he is? Do you not understand the price that was paid so that I can come in his presence? And I'm talking to the one that's keeping us all alive right now. And he can change everything. How is that not exciting to you? Something's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with the prayer meeting. I think we'd be blown away if we simplified and went back to early church. We read it. Don't you read about Acts 2 and go, oh, I wish I lived there. Where they just devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to prayer, to the fellowship, and the breaking of bread. We have an opportunity right now at this time in history. I am so pumped about it. But it's time to change the church and say, you know what? Enough of this consumer garbage. I'm going to devote myself to these things because I think it's going to actually become better as we strip away all these things we think we need.
Alright, so, in case you guys were wondering who that was, that's Francis Chan. Oh, his name's on there. But, the group's gonna come up. We started something last week. Do y'all remember any of that? Yeah. We're gonna do that. I mean, if you wanna.
He's got a pen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. We just sit right for that.
Everybody see this?
Yes.
Can you see it?
Alright. Alright, so, what happened? Just connect to the keep premiering on. Alright, so, as you can see, this is not my other one. This is the one I originally thought I had. Alright, so last week, what did we talk about last week, guys? Y'all remember?
Are you
Nope. Wait,
about
no, I
bettering
didn't.
our youth?
About what?
Bettering our youth group.
Bettering our youth group. That's
Like
correct.
I said, you wanna-
Yeah, I'll let you do it. You can do whatever you want to. You can type it, I can get a pen, I can use it. Alright, so, I mean, anything, I was just getting ready. Alright, so, yes, we talked about bettering our youth group. What specifically?
What?
I taught her everything she knows. So, just, FYI. Yes, we talked about bettering our youth group, but what specifically did we talk about?
Inviting new people.
Huh?
Or new people that come in.
The new people that come in, how they feel, right? We talked about these two big words. What were they?
It starts with the
I got him confused. They sound similar to each other.
inclusive. Why?
Inclusive and exclusive.
Oh, that's
And
what I was talking about.
some of y'all, a majority of you guys said that we're both. So I was thinking about that, and I'll be honest with you, that's called fence riding, and that's a very dangerous place to be. Just FYI, that's a dangerous place to be. That means, sorry. But truthfully, honestly, we're always going to be on one side or the other. It's not going to be both. And if you think we're both, then that usually means that some of us try to do one thing, but the reality of it is that we do the other thing. Like in a perfect world, we all want to be inclusive, right? We want to be inclusive. We want to include everybody in everything we do, but that's what we all want to do. But in reality, what happens is we exclude. So that's the problem. Is that we desire. Paul writes it this way: that the things that I want to do, I don't do. The things that I do, I don't want to do. It's I know it's confusing. Believe me, it's confusing as well when you read it from Paul. But that's what this is. We want to be inclusive, but truthfully, is we're exclusive. We try to keep everything within us. That's just something I just had been thinking about, and I just kind of wanted to share that with you, just to kind of Yeah, but this is still going to be a discussion, open discussion for you guys to talk back to us as well. In fact, we have all picked out some verses that we're going to eventually share today. So I can put it up here too.
Well, first,
But yeah, but first we want to go ahead, Kristen.
first we are going to ask you guys to, I guess, give us some ideas of goals for our youth group. They can be spiritual goals. They can be things that you want to do, things that you, activities that you want us to plan, anything. It's open to you guys. We want to get.
Yeah, because remember what we said last week. Whose youth group is this? It's y'all's youth group. Yeah.
So this can be anything from like ways to grow closer together as a youth group, ways to attract more people into the youth group, any of that.
Kind of like, what is your vision for this youth group? What are your goals for this group? What do you want to see happen? Raise your hand, blurt it out. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
Kristen's a fast typer, so
Mhm.
and she says it's 1,000,000 words a minute. So try it. Right? That's about right.
No.
My dad.
Be more though.
Where's some coach?
I don't know, she might have competition. I can write a 5-page essay in 30 minutes.
Oh.
How many words on a page? It's like double space, 12 letter, 12 size font, kind of New Roman. On turkey hunting.
So, okay, I'll give you an example. One of my goals for you guys, for this group, is to not just see it grow, because it's not just about quantity. So I want to see, obviously more kids in here, however we get them, but it's also about quality. And I think we were taught that when we were in this same youth group that sometimes, the quality is more important than the quantity. So quantity is how many, a number. So yeah, we want to bring more people in here, but if it's, if none of our core group here is reaching out to those people, they're not consistently staying because they don't feel welcomed by you guys or by us, then the quality of this group goes down. So yeah, we could say, oh yeah, we see like 50 kids every week. But if you guys aren't growing spiritually, if you're not growing closer together, if you're not, bringing those people in one at a time, then it really has no depth to it. Those 50 people don't really mean anything. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's one of my goals, to give you guys an example.
So, quality
Over quantity.
Over quantity.
That goes with what a few people and preach to you guys who are willing to fully commit to God and no one else, just completely surrender to Him and serve Him only, than to preach to a whole huge church full, who some will listen and some will don't. And then COVID happened, and then we got what we got. So I was very pleased to. It was a strange way of answering prayer, but it's also yeah.
And with that point, it starts, but like amongst the ones that are here now and that are currently a part of the youth group, you all have to be on the same page for that to happen. We have to grow the quality within the quantity that we have now to be able to expand that to people outside. So, yeah, that's all I have.
I know a couple of you in here are like still kind of new and fresh, and you're like, yeah, this ain't for me. This is for like everybody else that's been coming like every Wednesday. Nope, you're not excluded. You're part of the core group now.
you're
This is your
included.
responsibility as well.
Yeah, just because you're leaving Tomorrowland and tomorrow's your last day doesn't mean you're in here right now.
I'm not getting
And
out.
you may come back. And what would you want to come back to? Would you want to come back to just 2 chairs and just be me and you talking? Oklahoma.
Are you from Oklahoma?
Yes.
I think Teely, were you about to say something? Okay, sorry, it's me in my head.
It's like the light is right.
I think a good goal for us would all to be getting. It sounds bad because we shouldn't all have to feel like close together for us to be able to worship, but I would like for us all to get to a place where we're comfortable near each other, actually worshiping and not just standing there. You feel
Like, what, the group could be in the center and then everyone could gather around them?
yeah.
Thing?
No, in my head I was kind of thinking that we could have the chairs like circled and just all be out in the middle.
Oh, Maverick City.
No, never mind.
There's
I don't want to be
more
Noah.
groups that do that other than Maverick City. But yes, the concept of us feeling, so close that we feel comfortable being able to get into a state of worship next to each other, not feeling
Yeah.
uncomfortable or worried about what the other person's gonna think in the room. Yeah, that's a great goal.
I got an idea of how you could do that. So I go to early college, and our very first week before school started, they had us do like all these awkward things with each other, like the
Icebreaker
spider
games.
things.
Yep.
They had a spider web, and we all had to help each other lift each other through the
Yeah.
spider web.
Yeah, team bond, the team
Stuff
building.
like that. I
Yeah.
think we could do something like that every once in a while.
Team
I like it. I like it.
I have a bunch of those guys. So
We know.
y'all don't. Huh?
I'll make a hot sauce.
All right. What else? What else? This is what you want. This is all. I want these two things. This is it.
And one of them came from one of us. So.
One thing.
There's no activities y'all want to do? I mean,
Go to
I know some of
Carowinds.
y'all only
Go
want
to Carowinds. That's not bad. I
We
see.
could go to Carowinds and ride rides and then talk to people about the gospel.
And evangelize at the same time.
I've been to Carowinds with
Hey,
my
they
grandma.
can't leave. So.
Exactly. We could get on a roller
You can
coaster
you
next
can
to random
fire
people and be like, "Yo, so have you heard about Jesus?
You can
He's gonna keep us from dying on this
you
earth."
3.5 minutes of straight
What is it?
We'll be going down. So Jesus loves you.
All right, go ahead. Dakota has something.
So we should find like a website about Jesus and all that, and then go to the mall and airdrop it to everyone you can find.
Yes.
I didn't hear a single
That would be
word
actually
you
kind of cool.
That is
That
smart.
sounds like it
So-
would work in my head, but I don't know that much about technology.
So,
Work, Kevin?
it will work if they have their airdrop on for everyone, for anyone to see. That's the only catch.
We can
Only one
airdrop
person
verses.
gets it.
Also-
That one person
also,
got it, okay?
You would have to change your name on yours, otherwise they'll know.
Who it came from?
Well, if it says Dakota, no one knows who Dakota is except us.
Yes,
Unless they have
unless he drops it to someone he thinks that he doesn't know.
Well, you don't
but
get
they-
pictures
That would be cool if
Also
all you
have
heard
a
of all
picture.
the zombies
Either.
going on.
Right, it
But
could
like,
be any person.
So anyway, evangelism techniques. So we'll sum it up with evangelism techniques. It doesn't have to be. There is an old-fashioned way of doing stuff like that, and it's actually handing it out with your bare hand to people. So you get a group of people, and you hand it out to them.
where's the mystery that know where it came from?
The mystery is in the card. It's a game.
I have another.
I have a card game that you can actually play with them. Anyway, go ahead.
Teely has one.
I would like to see more people at Bible study, and lately
Bible study.
Lately, there haven't been very many
It's been
people
just
there,
us.
so the adults and the youth that do show up are able to have conversations like about what we're reading or things that we have questions about, and it makes you, I don't know, it's not like you're going and seeing someone preach to you and talk to you until they're blue in the face. It's more like a discussion that'll help you learn and help you grow and understand more, and you get a chance to talk to.
Yeah.
So.
Especially so if you have like where Bible study comes in is it builds that closer one-on-one. In the video it talks about the church in Acts 2. If you don't know anything about Acts 2, that's the simplified version of the church, and literally it was in homes. It was in people's homes. And it was a small, intimate gathering where they taught what Jesus did. They literally just spread what Jesus did. They didn't have a Bible. They didn't crack it open and say, all right, so today we're going to be in Jonah chapter 1. They didn't do that. They literally just, so Jesus, this is what Jesus said. I heard him with my own ears. And then it went off like that. So that's what Bible study is we get a little bit more intimate. More
Just like
talk to Al.
in a broad term, it's a pretty big goal, but like just in general, striving to be an Acts model church.
Kind of what you were just talking about, kind of to piggyback on that. Kevin, what me and you were talking about, I think yesterday, the kind of like the guys and the girls kind of night, not like we used to do it when we would split up on a Wednesday night, but actually like getting together on a separate night, possibly every once in a while, and having like guys meet up somewhere, girls meet up somewhere, and kind of
Like
fellowship
coffee shops
together.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
I feel like the
necessarily just
fellowship
for a
will
Bible
be
Yeah,
study,
it doesn't
but
have to be a
for-
Bible study. It
yeah.
could turn into one. It literally,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
everything can turn into it. Like we could, if you meet every once in a while, eventually that just catches on. Go ahead, Dakota.
I was gonna say we could go like to the front, like to the store or something, or like ask permission to do this, but we could like set up a stand, and then so like that way people could like come and we could like evangelize to like a group or just something.
Make them come.
We
to
can
you.
talk in the store microphones. I know people at Cameron who like me and would let me do that.
Jesus loves you. Run, run, go, go.
Like, looking at it.
So this is kind of get into like ideas, like specific things that we can do. So
All
are
fall
there
under
any?
evangelism techniques.
Yeah.
All of them. Those are great ideas for evangelism techniques.
Yeah.
Are there any ideas or of like maybe events or games or something that we could do here either on a Wednesday or on a weekend that you guys would be comfortable and would like to bring a friend to? Like people that's never been here from school, from neighborhood, wherever.
Water
Lock-ins.
games.
Water games? Okay.
Can we do lock-ins?
Lock-ins.
Guys, it's been so long since we had one of those.
How about a game tournament?
Yes.
I got locked in. I got locked in.
I don't know. What
Yeah.
Smash, like Smash tournament.
They can't volleyball.
Video games.
Yes.
Yeah. So those things are really great. We can do those within lock-ins. But like I told y'all before, with lock-ins, the more people you have for a lock-in, the better off. Because you
We
can
would
have.
have to invite so many people for a walk-in. We could have it in the gym.
I have so many friends
Mhm.
that have the
Well, you also realize this church sits on 8 acres of woods, too. So it's just
Literally,
complete.
Hide and seek.
Well, we mentioned the camp out.
Yeah.
Night
Mention the
times.
camp out at specific people's house.
I tried a scavenger hunt because when I was in youth, we would get like a list of things and we would have people who drive and we'd have teams. And so like in
well,
my
we did
car,
that
I
in
had
my
like
group.
4 people or whatever. And we would be trying to find everything before like Brianna's car and Josh's car. And stuff.
I would have to have people in the truck because my truck is a 2-seater.
So these things are awesome ideas that we could do on a Saturday or a Friday or just on a different day. I love it. I love scavenger hunts. I'm really good at it. I'm really good at creating them.
Now, what about Wednesday nights? Let's go a little bit smaller scale. What are things that we could do on Wednesday nights that you feel like would make it? We want to help you guys bring people in, because it's one thing for us to invite kids. I mean, we're adults, so they're like, okay, whatever. Like an adult's invite me to their youth group. But for you guys to invite people in, it makes so much more of an impact and a difference, and they're more likely to come because they have you that they can cling to while they're here. So, what are some things on Wednesday nights that we could incorporate and do to help you get them in here? Dakota?
Maybe like once in a while we can have like a game night or something like that.
Game night? Okay.
That's not a bad idea.
Have provide
Wednesday
food.
night, game night.
I provide food for like one of the during those nights.
Food? Always food.
Who brings everybody?
Ice cream.
Cassie, is your hand up or are you just resting?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, just resting. Okay. I thought you were just doing that one thing. Like I want to say something, but like. Alright.
We could have outdoor youth group.
Outdoor.
Oh,
outdoor,
that'd be fun.
especially in the
Summertime.
cooler months.
You'll just
I did.
She said summertime.
I said
Yeah,
summertime.
I'm not doing
I'm
something.
gonna go cool enough.
I'm not going right now. I'm just eating food.
Alright, what else? What else can make Wednesday nights more interesting, more fun? You can say, yeah, we don't want to hear you speak, Kevin. It's okay, I understand. I'm boring. I can be boring.
No, you're not. You're better than Josh.
We could have the youth speak more.
You speak
You
more.
speak more. I like it.
Yeah. You speak more. That means you guys have got to start
What do you mean
stepping up.
as a youth skateboard?
So
Like how Teely spoke one night. You don't have to be
you
like
don't
this by
have
yourself.
listen, and there's
You
the
could
thing.
do it with Lydia.
Tilly,
Yeah, man.
listen. Like Tilly did the whole night. That's perfectly fine. If you
Yeah,
feel like,
that was really good.
if you feel like you can do the whole night, you can do the whole night. I'll let you do it. Now here's the thing, and I did with Tilly. I talked to Tilly about what she's going to talk about.
Yeah, I had to tell him.
So you have to talk to me or one of these guys beforehand if you want to talk. You can't just come up on Wednesday night and be like, hey, I want to talk, Kevin. Yeah, you know, there's a lot that goes into preparing a message.
And you don't have to do
What
it
is
all night.
preparing
You could
this?
do like
Yeah.
half a night, and then
And-
once we know what you're talking about, we could like help you
Yeah,
go
so-
into it together.
Or yeah, something like that, or another way to make it a little less intimidating, maybe even kind of like a sort of an open mic night where
Yeah.
where several of you
That
guys
is
come
such
up
a
and
good
like
idea.
several of you come up and like share what you may have gotten out of your devotion
Or
in
a
the past
testimony
week,
or something.
Yeah.
or
I
something
like
that
that.
God has done in your life.
Dakota,
You know?
got something. Go ahead, Dakota.
I was gonna say like maybe we could do like what they do in like actual church where like you go up and sing. Like we could do that. In here.
Oh, like a singing. Okay.
Karaoke night.
That's
such a good
Yeah.
idea.
Oh.
I'm so y'all. Listen, I want to hear some of y'all sing. I'm tired of getting
So-
little.
Worship night.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've done one of those.
We've also.
So if I don't do that,
We can
Alright.
combine the young adults and the youth band.
Still not full band because we don't have.
It's just
It's
all
the same thing,
it's
but
just
you're
sacred.
related. Well, except for Amber.
Yeah.
If you and
That's
Amber
true.
can play the
Brought us youth band.
She's not working. We need a
Alright.
bass guitar.
Alright, now one more thing we want to kind of share before we end today. Is that okay? You want to go? Yeah. You can actually go to the Bible app if you want to, Kristen. This one. Oh, that one. This one. Bible app. You can do it Bible Gateway.
I can try some verse.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
And then look up in the Bible.
Yeah.
All right.
Alright. Hmm?
Did you make slides? Put them on
I
there?
did,
Oh,
but we're using AirPlay, so we can't use them.
Okay, we all picked a verse that we'd like to just implement in our youth group spiritually. So mine, I went ahead and typed is Colossians 3:12 through 14, if you want to turn there. And it says, "Put on therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, vows of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. And above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of all perfectness." I mean, this verse talks about a lot of things that I think we can all personally grow in, but as a group, you know, just putting each other first, forgiving each other, loving each other. We're supposed to look like the church in Acts, like Teely said, you know, so just go back and study on that verse and, you know, maybe think of one thing personally that you can do from that verse to apply when you come to youth.
I'll go ahead and share mine.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, so the next one's gonna be Galatians 6:2. And that says, "Bear ye one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ." You know, what's, out of all the commandments, what's the most important? And he said, "Love the Lord God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love thy neighbor as thyself." So we're here to encourage each other and bear ye one another's burdens here. Because I know every single one of us has gone through something or is going through something, whether you see it on their face or not. They're going through something. So, and you can bear a burden in different ways for somebody, but you're doing it to fulfill the law of Christ.
Real quick before me and Josh share ours, while we're sharing these verses, these aren't stuff that we want to see in the youth group. We want to see these verses acted out. But when I was in youth and early on here, we had these shirts called Preach Jesus shirts, and that was my way of implementing what I thought the youth should be about. We should be preaching Jesus kind of concept. But I want you guys to come up with, I mean, it can be one of our verses, you can agree with us, you can just ex-nay all of ours, but what you want this youth group to be about, I want you to come up with a verse that's based on this youth group. That you want to see come alive in this youth group. If it's in Acts, so be it. Look through Acts and find a verse that in context that means something and you would like to share with the youth. We'll make it a shirt. We'll put it on water bottles. We'll do whatever we possibly can do. Stickers. we'll do everything we can, because that's what, if you found value, if everyone finds value in it, then it's worth spending money on.
Yeah, for real. Like, we'll brand it and make it look cool, so like when you're trying to invite people, it entices them a little bit more.
Yeah. And I can do giveaways. So, yeah.
We
Alright.
have to come up with a T-shirt now.
Oh, I have no problem with coming up with t-shirts, guys.
2 more verses, then we have to announce
Yeah.
the.
Yes. Alright. So my verse that I picked was in Ephesians chapter 2. It says this, in verse 19. So then you are no longer strangers and aliens, but you are fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God, built on a foundation that the apostles and prophets, Christ Jesus himself being the cornerstone, in whom the whole structure being joined together grows into the holy temple in the Lord. In him you are being built together into a dwelling place for God by the Spirit. I chose this verse because this is really kind of what the church is, what the church is supposed to be. That I feel like the church has forgotten what it's supposed to be built on, who the church is supposed to stand for, and I wanted to I personally want the youth group to start on that level, the same level that Jesus is the cornerstone. Everything we do points to Jesus. Oh yeah, we go to the movies, but we go in Jesus' name. We do all these things, but we do it for the purpose of Jesus Christ. And that's kind of where I want to bring it together as bring it back to God. We want to bring him all the glory, give him all the glory. So,
And then mine was in Philippians chapter 2, verses 14 through 16. It says, "Do all things without grumbling or disputing, that you may be blameless and innocent, children of God without blemish, in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world, holding fast to the word of life, so that in the day of Christ I may be proud that I did not run in vain or labor in vain." It's cool. When we decided to pick these verses, I went straight to Philippians because Philippians was something that I read a lot when I was in youth, especially my last year in youth when we went to Haiti. While we were in Haiti, Philippians was like my devotion time that whole time, and it's just stuck with me ever since. And as soon as we thought about this, I thought about you guys and thought about sharing one of these verses. But doing all things without grumbling or disputing, obviously we want to do all things, with the spirit of Christ, and so that, in a sense here, so that we'll be blameless and innocent, because we are the light of the world. We're supposed to shine Jesus' light out to what these verses call a crooked and twisted generation. We know this world has a lot of evil in it, and the only way to counteract that evil is going to be the light that comes from Jesus, and we have to spread that.
So here, this is all the information. How many of you guys have iPhones? Everyone in this room has iPhones. All right, Kristen is going to share this with you. This is our list. You helped come up with this.
Unlock them? They need to unlock them?
Yeah.
Just like the other
All right. So just start going on. So we want to they're just like,
Mine's not working because I don't
oh,
understand.
someone just declined one. Way to go. What's that? Someone in the church.
Send it to everybody.
Can you send it to me again? Because I don't have the app, so it told me to
Download the app.
I don't know where you are, Dakota.
I was the first one you sent it to. I think.
I sent it to Elena first.
That one. Oh, it probably is.
I don't know what happened to it.
Did you not accept it?
Yeah, I accepted it.
It's in your notes.
Wait, how do I get my name?
Oh, okay.
Is it notes or documents?
You can airdrop the
Yes.
notes.
Do you have notes or documents?
I don't know.
Is it in those? Look in your documents. Try that.
It is in my docs.
Yeah, it's gonna be, I think, in your documents.
It's just hard to find your documents. I don't know how to.
Where's his documents at? What the heck?
It's in files. Those are files.
Where are my files?
I opened it and I'm copy and pasting it in my notes.
Oh, never mind. I don't need it anymore.
I found have files. Where?
It's saying
Yeah,
our
no,
requirement
I don't think I have files.
That's probably the next one.
Oh yeah.
We're trying to send it to.
I found files. I mean, it told me to
Files.
download this app, so I'm downloading it.
Kevin, real quick, do you have an
Oh, it's right here. I'm
Oh yes, I have an
File.
announcement about.
But it told me to download that. I should
Yeah,
download that.
download it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm saying like it told me to download notes.
I have
Yeah, you have to open notes or files or a page.
Chandler, come over here and
It's in your general.
Y'all have that thing, you can search for documents.
If you need to turn AirDrop on, it's in general, your general settings.
Alright. So real quick, now we're gonna make the announcement of the winners of camp. We kind of talked over it during the video, and after
Can you send it to me?
much deliberation and thinking, I'm gonna go with my gut, and my gut says the two winners. One person has 8 points, the other person has 7 points. Because the 7-point person has got a lot of hers by learning scripture and everything, I'm giving her the win, which is Jersey. She's not here. But maybe she's listening in. She has 7. But the person with the 8 points, who actually has the most, got his all by inviting people. So Isaac. So congratulations to those two guys and girls. With that being said, if you didn't win, sorry, maybe next year. But I really want you to come to camp. If you signed up for it earlier, and I can't take any new guys now because our vans are full. So I'm so sorry. Apologize in advance.
You guys got a van?
Ish. We got a cargo. We're taking the van and we're taking a cargo van.
Rodney doesn't want to drive.
Is Rodney going?
No, Rodney's not going. Rodney's not going.
I
Rodney's
thought
not
Tim
going.
was going.
Alright, with all that being said, so make sure you pay or talk to me today, and so we can get everything squared away. I don't think I have any more announcements about that. Remember to fill out your form. Fill out your form. Registration. You have to go to Google. And this is your best way to do it. Type in KMBC New Heights Camp, and it'll take you. If you click on the first link, it should be Kentucky Mountain Bible College. It should say, "What are you doing with that? Don't break it. It's already on its last leg."
I wanted to see it.
It does. So remember that when you go to sign up on there.